Julian here, Nike Oregon Project, assistant coach, lead coach for Suguru Osako. Third place today. I mean, were you expecting that from him? What are your thoughts on the performance?
No, I wasn't expecting a third, but I was really confident in his ability today. His training has just gone amazingly well over the last 5 weeks. And you know, he showed up in the lineup. He's healthy. He wasn't sick. Nothing hurt. He had no aches and pains. We had a really good hydration plan. You know, we were practicing that. You know, the Oregon Project, we do that really well. You know, we always try to anticipate any sort of elements. So we knew he was ready for the heat. We knew he was able to take in the liquids that he needed to. You know, I thought maybe on a great day top 8, but as the race unfolded, and you know, I saw that he was in there at 15, 16. Saguru is an athlete who may be well, I guess like any athlete, the later they're in it, their confidence grows, especially a young athlete like himself. A debut, I think he started to realize that, hey, I'm feeling terrible, but I'm looking around and everybody else is feeling at least as terrible as me. So I knew once he got to about 8 miles to go, I would be able to get a pretty good read on, at least I felt like, of what he could handle just based on his training. And I thought really at 18 he actually looked pretty darn good. And so I knew he was going to finish really strong. But there was so many guys in the pack. There must have been 10, 15 guys that you just never know. But once Galen and crew started to pick things up, it sort of shattered that pack a little bit. And Suguru was just really strong. And man, we are just as a team, we're just so pleased, with the whole group today. So it was great.
How much of this build-up did he run with Galen in terms of workouts, long runs, that sort of thing?
Well, the objective was to try to get him together as much as possible. But Galen had a foot issue that was, it was touch and go. I mean, everybody's been reading all the way through Prague, so it wasn't. They really couldn't match up that much. And so at one point it was like, hey, let's just get Suguru down to altitude, because we weren't able to get them together as much as we'd like to. But they were doing at the beginning part of the marathon training, getting some workouts together. But it just, with Galen, I mean, it was really just, just trying to make sure that it was the perfect for him and also perfect for Suguru. So we just said, hey, let's just make sure both these guys are getting taken care of the best they can. So Galen stayed in Portland and Suguru went down to Boulder.
Boulder, you said?
Yeah, with me, and it worked out really well. But certainly, our mantra is train everybody. We try to work together as much as possible. We've got Eric and Matthew and Mo, down in Flagstaff right now, and so it's once Galen can do a whole healthy training block of marathon training, I would expect Suguru and Galen, can do the whole, 10, 12 weeks as much as possible together in the future.
Yeah, I mean, when did you realize, was it during this build-up, or was it before then, that he had the potential to be a great marathoner?
Yeah, I think in some ways it was like Jordan. It's we were trying to find his event. So, he was a good 5K, 10K runner. He's run 13:08 and 27:30 mid something. But it's just, we just kind of felt like, something was amiss, that he couldn't really click, and certainly, those championship races, which we trained for in the Oregon Project, you got to be able to close in under 53 seconds. And through all the speed and everything we've done, he just couldn't jump that bridge. So like, hey, we got to try moving him up. And so it was really after he was just going to run the half and then run a spring track season. Well, he ran 61:15 there, Saguru, but it was off of pretty spotty training, to be honest. He was a little bit banged up. He had a bad cold the week before. And I remember just right after, I shot Alberto a text and said, hey, what do you, why not? Let's just run this guy at Boston. I mean, if he wants to run that in 2020, why don't we, let's see how he does in Boston. It's, for him, Boston's low key because it's not in Japan. He's over here. There's, he's kind of just lost in the pack. Probably watching the race, they probably didn't even mention Seguru's name until 2 hours into the coverage or so forth. And that's kind of what we were looking for. We wanted to just be able to kind of fly under the radar and just get the experience. I mean, today though, he obviously showed that, he's got a pretty bright future. In the marathon.
So you didn't start the serious marathon training until after that?
After that half marathon. Yeah, I mean, the longest he did was maybe an 18-mile run, maybe once or twice, easy, before that half marathon. Right after that, but at that point, I think we still had 9 or 10 weeks. But the nice thing is, he wasn't sick anymore. He was healthy right after that half. And so rather than saying take a break, it's like, you know what? He's actually healthy for the first time in a couple months. You know, he ran a pretty good half, 61 minutes. So, you know, let's, you know, maybe there's something there. And, you know, there was.
Sure. So. And what are your thoughts about Jordan's run? You know, 2:23 flat on this course in her debut.
Unbelievable. Just absolutely fantastic. You know, Alberto has just done an awesome job with her because it has been a long road that Jordan Alberto. I mean, it's, you know, over the last couple of years with injuries and just getting her confidence back and, you know, struggling on the track but those two have just held steadfast and believed and just kept on pushing and working. That's the cool thing about our sport, right? Is if you still got your legs underneath you, you still got your youth. You still got, and that doesn't mean if you're 40 like Mev, or as long as you got your youth still, you know, and you can show up the line, or you can do all the training. You can build your way out of those ruts, you know, as long as you're motivated and the fire's still in the belly and so forth. And that's the thing with Jordan; she just loves the sport. So every morning she wakes up, she's fired up. She's the positive attitude that we see out in the social side of things. That's really who Jordan is.
Yeah.
And she's very uplifting. So for me, it's just so awesome to see her get to this point now where she's world class. You know, she's found her event, you know, and she's still young, and that, you know, that every now major marathon that she runs, or even in a championship race, she's running for a podium.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think both her and Alberto know that there's a lot of stuff that they can even improve upon for the next one, and it's really exciting. I think we've got, you know, America's next great marathoner. She just awesome. And it was warm out there, right? I was hearing 79. Is that?
That's what they were saying on the course.
Maybe that may have been off the pavement or something like that. You know, I don't know, but it was hot, and you know you can see. But so you know whatever she ran, 2:23.
2:23 flat.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Suguru, going forward, you feel like he'll be doing any more track, or is he going to go to the marathon?
Yeah. You know, I mean, he's still young. I mean, I think that. Yeah, I mean, the marathon obviously is his event, you know, as of
a few minutes ago.
a few minutes ago. Yeah, he's a marathon. But, you know, I think part of what makes our athletes good is that we never totally give that piece away. You know, we do believe that, you know, to be competitive at any event, you need to be competitive at the event below you and so forth. So, you know, I don't see any reason why, you know, he still can't, you know, try to run under 27:30 and have that as a goal, and maybe even, you know, we do that this summer, or, you know, try to do some things on the track, because I think ultimately it does help him for the marathon.
Yeah.
But this certainly changes the focus.
Yeah.
Where, hey, 2020 now with Tokyo, or just even as, you know, that now we can actually plan for a marathon next fall or next winter and say, hey, now we kind of know you can do this.
Yeah.
So, you know, let's really kind of go all in.
Yeah. And then what were your thoughts about Galen today, and I guess how much do you feel like the injury had affected him during the build-up? How much of a factor was that?
Well, I thought Galen was going to win. Yeah. So because I've been with the program for 4 years, and I know that just in the last 2 weeks, Galen you could just tell he had a weight lifted off his shoulder. This was a hard injury, as anybody would know with plantar. It moves around. You just can't, you know, it's just one of those things where some days it's good. Some, you know, everybody who's had that injury knows it kind of has a mind of its own. So I think it's really exhausting mentally. It's, you know, but he was getting the training in. Okay. You know, to Alberto's credit. I mean, they were getting the work in, and that was, so we knew that if he could just turn the corner on health, that he would be great. And after Prague, obviously there was a lot of concerns. You know, talking to Alberto, and, you know, at that point it was like, you know, I don't know, maybe it's, you know, he just didn't know. But working through that week, you know, so forth, and Galen is finally starting to feel a lot better. But you could see it by the time Galen got here to Boston. He just had a lot of energy. He had a bounce in his step. He just, you know, he was clear-minded. I think he knew. Thanks, David. I think he, you know, knew he could win it. The guy ran phenomenally well. Obviously, Karui is just a fantastic, you know, one of the best in the world. Galen just ran an incredible race. He's even battling all the way to the end. You know, his cadence and everything looked pretty darn good over the last couple miles. You know, all the way to the finish. He just ran a super tough race, and I mean, what is he? He's won first. He's bronze medalist at the Olympic Games, and then he comes back and
second in Boston,
battling really Planner for 95% of the build-up, training in the build-up, and I think that's just a huge testament to Galen mainly, because he's just so tough. I don't think people understand how tough that guy is. And then Alberto, being Mickey in the boxing ring with Rocky, just like you can do this, don't ever give up on it. That's testament to him as well.
All right. Well, I appreciate the time. Nice
Thanks,
job
guys.
today.
Yeah, appreciate it.